Howdy folks, let's get you playing your first game of Manifold TCG. One player will be Wild, or Green, and we'll start with Vicus as their hero. I'm going to call that player you. The other player will be Marshall, or Red, and we'll start with Kiera as their hero. I'll call that player your opponent. Everything I'm using here can be found in the launch box, so if you can't figure out where I'm getting any of these pieces from, go check out the launch box video, which either is linked in the description, or if you're on mountbakergames.com, you can find it somewhere else on this page. Each of your heroes has 12 health. This functions as the game's win condition. Defeat your opponent's hero by dealing 12 damage to it before they defeat yours. You and your opponent should sit across from each other and put your heroes into play. Then, you'll shuffle the 21 card support deck of all the green cards, and your opponent will do the same with red. Vicus says that you start the game with 2 emerald mines, as shown here, and you'll also make 1 each round, including the first round, so we'll start by grabbing 3. These are double-sided, by the way, so if you can't find emeralds, try flipping them over. Now, we will randomly determine who goes first. In this demonstration, you will go first. Now draw an opening hand of 5 cards. Typically there's a mulligan rule here, but we don't tell players about that during their first game. And you have successfully made it to the start of round 1. Players will go back and forth doing one thing at a time. You'll get to do everything you want to do in a round, but after you do something, your opponent will do something. And on your turn, you're going to do one of 3 things. You will either play a card, activate an object, or resolve dice. Let's start by playing a card. You have 3 different card types in your hand, so let's look at these. To play a character, you'd pay the cost shown in the upper left corner and put it into play. This costs 3 gems, because it costs 1 emerald plus 2 gems of any color. To play this, we would exhaust 3 locales to show that they have been used for the round. To play this attachment, we would need 4 gems. We can't do that this round, but when we play this card, we'll put it into play attached to a character, probably Vicus, because it adds these dice to his effects when activated. And to play this event, we would need to pay 2 gems. When you play an event, you immediately do its effect, then discard it. So events are powerful and immediate, but temporary. Because this event costs 2 gems, it would allow us to play another card that costs 1 gem, like this Field Geologist, later in the round. We'll spend 3 gems to put Surface Mapper into play. She rolls green and white when activated, and that'll happen a little later. We've played a card, so it's our opponent's turn. Our opponent plays a Federation Blaster. It costs 2 gems, so they have 1 remaining. It's an attachment, so they put it on Kiera. They played a card, so it is your turn. You will play a card, activate an object, or resolve dice. You're out of gems, so you cannot play a card, and you have not rolled any dice yet, so you will activate an object. To activate Vicus, you will exhaust him, just like you did with your locales, to signify that he's been used this round, and then you will roll his dice. Vicus rolls green and purple when activated, so grab one of each of those and roll them. You got Rend 1 and Modify 2. I'll talk about those in just a second, but because you activate an object, it is now your opponent's turn. Your opponent will choose to activate Kiera. She becomes exhausted to show she has been used. Normally, Kiera rolls red-purple when activated, but because she has a Federation Blaster, she now rolls red-red-purple. Characters can have up to 3 attachments on them. Your opponent rolls their 3 dice and gets Shield 1, Mental Damage 2, and a blank. Now it is your turn. You still cannot play a card, so you choose to activate an object or resolve dice. When you resolve dice, you can choose one of these 8 symbols and resolve 1 or more dice showing those symbols together as one action. There's a reference card for these dice faces in the same box that you found the tokens in. So you can resolve Rend 1 to make your opponent discard a card, or you can resolve Modify 2 to turn up to 2 dice to any side. Or you can activate the Surface Mapper to get more information first. You choose to do that, so you are activating a character. You'll exhaust her, and then roll green-white. You find an energy and a blank. Now your opponent plays a card. It's an event called Take Aim. They spend their last gem, and then they modify their blank dice to 2 physical damage. Modify lets them turn the dice to any side, but of course, you can only turn the dice to sides that appear on them, so there's another helpful reference card in the tokens box that shows you which dice faces appear on which dice. Now, we have spent all our gems and activated all our objects. The only thing left to do is resolve dice. Energy would let us use Vicus's special energy ability, which is Modify 1. However, we already have a Modify 2 in our dice pool, so we'll do that instead. We choose to modify our white dice and our blank green dice to 1 mental damage and to 2 mental damage respectively. White and black dice don't have any 2 faces on them, so that 1 is the best option available. Now our opponent resolves Shield to put a shield counter on Kiera. This shield counter prevents 1 instance of damage no matter how much damage that might be. Now, we choose to resolve mental damage. Like I mentioned, when resolving dice, we pick 1 symbol, in this case mental damage, and we can resolve 1 or more dice showing that symbol, so we can deal 1, 2, or 3 damage all in one action. However, Our opponent's shield prevents one instance of damage, no matter how great that instance. So if we resolve all 3 damage, the only result will be that we remove the shield. So instead, we just resolve the 1 mental damage, which takes off Kira's shield. Our opponent will then resolve physical damage, so we will mark 2 damage into Vicus. It's worth pointing out that they could not deal that damage to Surface Mapper. The rules text for resolve damage is to deal that damage to a hero. The Surface Mapper is a support character. Everything other than your heroes is a support. You need to use card effects, not dice, to interact with your opponent's support characters. So our Vicus has 10 health remaining. We then resolve 2 mental damage into Kira, mark 2 damage on her, and now she has 10 health remaining. Our opponent now resolves 2 mental damage into Vicus, bringing his damage taken up to 4. They had to resolve physical and mental separately because they're 2 different symbols. Then we resolve Rend 1, causing our opponent to discard a card from their hand. Our opponent now has nothing left to do. The first player to be done taking actions can dig in. They get a bonus shield, which your opponent places on Kira. Then they can take no more actions this round, but will go first next round. Now that our opponent has dug in, we can take as many actions as we would like. We don't have anything to do though, so we will pass and go to the new round. In the new round, each player empties their dice pool, those are already empty, then they ready all their objects to be used again, draws 2 new cards, and creates another locale. In the new player experience, these decks are monocolored, so you grab another Emerald Mine. Play continues like this until one player has no heroes remaining. Games usually end in the 4th or 5th round, but games ending in the 3rd, 6th, or 7th round are not terribly unusual. If you think you have a good grip of what's going on, go ahead and get playing, but I'm going to narrate a second round so that you can see some of the other types of cards get played. Your opponent dug in last round and will go first. She now has 4 locales and chooses to exhaust all of them to play a hired mercenary. This is a support character with 4 durability. When we look at the new cards that we drew, it includes Burn It Down. Burn It Down deals 4 damage to a support character. Like we said before, a support is everything that isn't a hero. Burn It Down deals damage to characters, so it could remove the hired mercenary because it has 4 or less durability, but it cannot remove the Federation Blaster because while it is a support, it is an attachment and not a character. So you choose to spend 3 gems by exhausting that many locales to play Burn It Down on the mercenary, who is then discarded. Your opponent is out of gems, so activates Kira and rolls 1 physical damage, 2 physical damage, and 2 modify. You still have 1 gem, so you choose to play your Field Geologist. You exhaust your last locale and put this character into play. Your opponent resolves their Modify 2 dice. Modify 2 lets them turn up to 2 dice they control to any side, so they choose to turn their 1 physical damage into a 2 physical damage, but keep their other dice. Now that you are out of gems, you won't play any more cards, so you begin activating your characters. You start with Vicus, exhausting him and rolling green and purple for 1 mental damage and 1 blank. Your opponent resolves their 4 physical damage into Vicus, bringing his damage up to 8. He has 4 health remaining. You activate your Surface Mapper, exhausting her and rolling green and white for 2 mental damage and 1 energy. Your opponent is out of plays, so they dig in, putting a shield on Federation Blaster because Kira already has a shield and you're only allowed to have 1 shield per object. Now, you get to take as many actions as you would like, and you have plenty left to do. Before making any strategic decisions, you activate your Geologist, exhausting him and rolling a black dice, which comes up with 1 physical damage. Because your opponent has dug in, you just keep going. You resolve Energy to activate Vicus's energy ability, allowing you to modify your blank purple dice into 2 mental damage. Then, you resolve your green 1 mental damage to take off your opponent's shield. And you have 5 damage remaining to deal to Kira. Technically, you resolve your 1 physical damage followed by your 4 mental damage because there are 2 different symbols. Your opponent had dug in though, so that difference doesn't matter here. Kira marks 5 damage on her, and she had taken 2 damage in round 1, so she now has 7 damage marked on her and 5 health remaining. Now, start a new round. Each player empties their dice pools, readies all their objects, draws 2 cards, and creates a locale. Your opponent dug in and will be going first. Vicus has 4 health remaining and Kira has 5. You're behind in the race, but you have better support objects and will roll more dice than your opponent if you live long enough for that to be helpful. This is where I'm going to end the video. You can continue play from here to see who wins this game, or you can start over and make all your own decisions. If you find any weird situations, like you're digging in but have nowhere to put a shield, or you find yourself with a bunch of blank dice that you can't resolve, I'll remind you that you're playing the new player experience. Just weather through it, and when you're ready, go ahead and read the full game rules, and that will govern all the corner cases that you may find yourself in. Welcome to Manifold TCG. I hope you love it as much as we do.